To some, Sigma INFJs may be tender and thoughtful, while to others, they may come across as haughty. However, why is this contradiction occurring? Are Sigma INFJs the best individuals to hang out and work with? 8 factors contribute to a Sigma INFJ's perceived arrogance in others. 8. It's possible to misinterpret their penchant for isolation as superiority. There is no need for Sigma INFJs to prove their superiority over other people. They frequently use their alone time to concentrate on themselves, engage in introspection, and replenish their emotional reserves. They could decide to withdraw in social settings in order to work through their feelings, which might mislead some people into thinking they're being distant or patronizing. The social environment frequently rewards extroverted traits, thus people who value regular social interaction may find the seclusion of Sigma INFJs puzzling. One may misunderstand the introverted person's need for solitude and introspection if they believe that this retreat is an act of superiority. Furthermore, Sigma INFJs value depth in relationships over breadth. Rather than having a large social network of acquaintances, they can have a few close interactions. 7. When it comes to social interactions, they are particular. The selective way that Sigma INFJs engage with others could be misconstrued as an act of exclusivity, or a sense of superiority toward particular people or groups. In actuality, Sigma INFJs are picky about the individuals they spend time and energy with. They look for relationships that support their ideals and foster personal development. Because of their propensity to value depth in relationships, Sigma INFJs might not take advantage of every social opportunity. Those who might not completely get their point of view may see their deliberate choice to be selective in their interactions, motivated by a desire for honesty and true connection, as dismissive or standoffish. Intellectually and emotionally stimulating contacts and meaningful talks are important to Sigma INFJs. As a result, they could withdraw from flimsy or fake conversations, which could be interpreted as being distant or reluctant to interact with people. 6. They are direct and lucid in their communication. Although the goal of Sigma INFJs is frequently to promote real comprehension and effectively communicate information, this direct approach can be misunderstood in a number of ways, which adds to the impression of haughtiness. The propensity of Sigma INFJs for direct and unambiguous communication may be interpreted as harsh or confrontational in a social environment where delicate or indirect communication is frequently valued. For others who prefer a more subtle or diplomatic communication style, the directness of Sigma INFJs may come out as insensitive or impolite. One may also view the precision with which Sigma INFJs express their ideas and opinions as an indication of intellectual aggressiveness. Their ability to convey information clearly and concisely could inadvertently give the appearance that they are superior, particularly if others are less comfortable articulating their thoughts in the same way. 5. They like working on their own. The decision to work alone by Sigma INFJs in collaborative environments that prioritize teamwork could be interpreted as a sign of detachment or a refusal to interact with others. This independence could lead to their peers viewing them as conceited since they think their contributions and views are better than others. Where cooperation and conformity are prized, the independence exhibited by Sigma INFJs could be seen as hostility to authority or established systems. Their desire for working independently could be interpreted as a challenge to accepted conventions, which could give the impression that they are haughty. Because of their independence, Sigma INFJs could purposefully foster a feeling of exclusion. When Sigma INFJs opt to work alone, others may feel excluded or underappreciated, which reinforces the idea that they think of themselves as better or more important than the group's collective contributions. 4. They may question accepted wisdom and think creatively. When the Sigma INFJs are in settings where adhering to conventional views is highly prized, their unusual thinking may be a kind of disobedience against established norms or traditional beliefs. Their tendency to confront and question these standards could be seen as hubris, implying that they think their ideas are better than the status quo. Individuals who favor more dependable or comfortable methods may find their capacity to think creatively unsettling. Sigma INFJs may unwittingly push others outside of their comfort zones, which can come across as conceit because their ideas upend the status quo. Furthermore, thinking beyond the box and being intellectually assertive can be interpreted as arrogant. If others are less confident in accepting or comprehending these novel ideas, then INFJ's self-assurance in putting them forth could be interpreted as an assertion of their viewpoint's superiority. 3. They put their principles and values first. This commitment can give the image of arrogance in a number of ways, even though it is based on a genuine desire for authenticity and integrity. First of all, the steadfast moral commitment of Sigma INFJs could be seen as moral superiority. When faced with opposing viewpoints or competing ideals, their unwavering dedication could unintentionally be interpreted as a criticism of others' ideas, which could give the impression that they are conceited. Sigma INFJ's emphasis on personal values may make them reluctant to make concessions on issues that are important to them. This rigidity can be interpreted as inflexibility, or a refusal to consider different points of view in collaborative situations where negotiation and flexibility are encouraged. This helps to reinforce the idea that they think their beliefs are better. It could appear assertive when Sigma INFJs express their values so clearly. If others are less convinced or clear about their views, their ability to express them with conviction could be misunderstood as intellectual or moral superiority. Furthermore, adhering to personal values could inadvertently foster a feeling of exclusivity or isolation. It is possible for others to perceive Sigma INFJs as conceited because of their uncompromising adherence to beliefs, which can come off as a detached attitude. 2. They exhibit emotional restraint. The reserved manner of Sigma INFJs may be interpreted as an attempt to maintain a distance from others, which adds to the impression of arrogance because it could be mistaken for a lack of desire to build strong relationships. Understanding the genuine emotions or intentions of Sigma INFJs may be challenging because to their emotional reserve. The lack of clarity in expressing emotions might give rise to presumptions, and some would read their reserve as a conscious attempt to project superiority or mystery. Furthermore, the seeming lack of reaction that Sigma INFJs exhibit in circumstances when emotional sensitivity is highly prized could be misinterpreted. Others would read their emotional reserve as a lack of capacity for empathy, or a connection to the emotions of those around them, which would serve to further reinforce their impression of haughtiness. 1. They frequently have an optimistic outlook. The capacity to think ahead and investigate novel concepts may be interpreted by Sigma INFJs as a disrespect for tradition and settings where conformity to established norms is highly prized, which could lead to an arrogant impression. Their emphasis on potential futures may unintentionally breed discontent with the status quo and be seen as a rejection of current practices. It is possible for Sigma INFJs to show a desire for change and advancement, which might be viewed as a lack of appreciation for the present and contribute to the impression of arrogance because it could be seen as a sign of discontent with the status quo. Because of their progressive outlook, Sigma INFJs may question accepted wisdom. Even while their goal is frequently to foster intellectual development, some can view their propensity to challenge accepted wisdom as evidence of their intellectual superiority, which would lead them to believe that their ideas are more sophisticated or superior. For individuals who are more grounded in the present, Sigma INFJ's willingness to accept future possibilities may be disconcerting. Their proactive attitude to foreseeing change and adjusting to new trends could be interpreted as inconsiderate to the state of affairs at the time, which would serve to reinforce the impression of haughtiness. Do you, as a Sigma INFJ, also encourage a sense of haughtiness in people who put short-term objectives first? The impression of arrogance could be influenced by the innate dominance of Sigma INFJs. But because these behaviors are rooted in genuineness and innate abilities, they do not necessarily represent arrogance. Are you aware that some people view you as conceited, as a Sigma INFJ? Do their views still matter to you?